listeners, welcome back to episode 12 of Females Doing Cool Shit. Today I am bringing you Samantha from Alive and Aligned Coaching. Samantha and I connected. Do you prefer to be called Sam or do you like Samantha? Is that official?
I would say Sam. Samantha feels like I'm in trouble.
Yeah, okay. Maybe. Okay. Sam, hey girl. Sam is here and Sam and I connected at a Females Doing Cool Shit event. I feel like it could have been the first one or the second one, but I do remember what I found. I found you, like I was curious around you because I do remember the way that I first interacted with you was you answered a question that one of the speakers had asked, and it was around finding your identity outside of work and what you do, and you shared a beautiful, vulnerable story about how you were always known as the girl that had tried all these different things and nothing was working for you. But we can delve into that later. But that's the way that I first, it was like my car lights went on. I was like, oh, I want to get to know that girl. Who is she? So tell us a bit about your story. Who are you?
Of course. I'm Sam. Sam I am.
Cute. I love that.
I'm very multi-passionate. I guess you kind of introed that perfectly because I am so creative. Like my background's actually in the creative industry, so designer, marketing. But I'll always say that the biggest personal development journey you can ever go on is starting a business.
Yeah, for sure.
I've been doing business for a few years. I am a mindset coach and a holistic mindset coach. I say holistic because it's not just our mind, it's our bodies, it's our relationship, it's all the things. I am an Aries, true and true. When I got my astrology chart read, it's like all fire. Like literally, I don't know if anyone knows astrology. If you don't know astrology, all the different signs, there's like fire, water, air, and earth. And so like fire is like just pictures fiery, passionate.
I'm a Sagittarius.
Yeah, well that's my... Yeah. I don't know. Is it rising? I don't know. I don't know it very well. It's the other one.
Yeah.
And then like water's like emotional and like earth's grounding and all the things. And I'm just all fire and air and not like nothing else. Really. I think I've got just like fire. One water. so passionate. Yeah. I have a lot of love. I have a big heart and that's what I love to do. I just love helping people.
That's so beautiful. And is that how you found yourself into this coaching role? Like just wanting to help people?
Yeah, I mean, I won't keep you all day, but I really struggled in my teen years with mental health, and my family has, since I can remember. My mum was always really open about it, which really helped. She was very open about struggling.
How old are you now?
28.
28, okay.
Yeah, so she was really open about struggling with anxiety and depression and being on medication for it. I was introduced to psychology at a young age. And so I got to my teen years and I went through a really, really, really tough time. I guess like trigger warning, like it did lead to some like self-harm and like struggling with disordered eating. And I found my way out of that was through fitness. So I loved running. And I think when I was 8, I used to set up like little obstacle courses in the backyard. Yeah, I just loved fitness. Like I loved doing that sort of stuff. And so it really helped me out of a dark place. And I think a lot of people's journeys who end up being, coaches or helping people with their mind.
They have their own story.
They do. And I think, a lot of the time it can start with your body, like getting back into taking care of yourself. And so, yeah, that sort of set me forward. And I always had such an interest in psychology and health and did the typical, oh no, I've got to go to uni and I've got to get the business degree because that's what's going to earn me money. And then I just ended up where I'm meant to be anyway, doing what I love, which is, helping others essentially feel better.
Do you know, I think every single woman that I've had on this podcast did not get a business degree.
Really?
Did not go to uni to get a business degree.
Makes sense.
And like their businesses are incredible, making impact on the community. They're just so passionate about it that they didn't, so...
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm glad I did it for the uni experience and it always helps, but it hasn't helped me in my actual business.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
Yeah. So you went through all that, you found a connection with running. I can definitely connect with you there, having been in a very dark place myself after having my kids, and running quite literally saved my life. And that's when I started Soul Sisters Run Club, which I've only just ended because I just can't wear all the hats all the time. And I feel like the impact that I had there and on women in the community was so monumental that I'm okay to step away now. I know that it really helped some women in a really dark place as well. So I love that from that and from that experience, you're now helping others. It's so lovely.
Yeah, I love it. And I've always said this, you know, I've always wanted to turn my mess into a message. And it felt messy. And being a human is just messy, you know. I've obviously gone through all of that and my own relationship struggles. And even now, you know, this last week has been a hard week, but that's what being a human is all about. And I think, you know, something that I'm huge on as a coach is really just, and as a business owner as well, is just normalizing that. And just because you're doing the thing, right, it doesn't mean that you're always perfect. I think a lot of the time for me, when I'm coaching women and helping others, like I'm relearning as well.
That's so beautiful. So if I was to come to you and ask you to coach me, you would coach me in all areas of my life, not just business. Is that how you work? Like you would support me in if I'm having relationship troubles, or if I'm struggling, not even struggling, or if I need some guidance with a project in my life. Is that where I could count on your support? Is that...
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the best way to explain it is that you are the one consistent behind any of those things, whether it's the business, the relationship, your health, your kids. I actually work with a lot of mums. I didn't think that would be the case when I started my business, but I attracted a lot of mums. And, you know, I think it really shows up when you're a parent. Not that I can speak for myself yet, but with, you know, regulating your emotions and wanting to be the best human you can be for yourself, but for others. And so, yes, whether it's the business, the relationships, your health, what I help you with is coming home to yourself and making sure that you feel whole and confident. And when challenges come up in those areas, that you're able to process those. You know, I really help women mostly with their emotions, their mindset, but our body as well. You know, when you think you're really stressed with work, or you think that you're really stressed with a relationship, it's often your body that's storing it all. You know, you think when you're a kid, if something happened that embarrassed you, it's like, I just want to like shrink, and like it's like that crawling feeling. Or if you were scared, you know, you went through a lot in childhood and there's that fear in your chest. It's anything that a trigger, right? Anything that kind of happens day-to-day life can kind of bring up that feeling. And if you're in tune with your body, you'll notice that that's actually the first thing that reacts. So I find that working with women, it's like if we can take care of your ability to come back to your body, and you have these ways of knowing yourself better, knowing what matters to you, your values, knowing how to take care of yourself, knowing how to regulate your stress and emotions, then the business, the relationship, all the other pieces do fall in place.
I notice that for me, myself, when I'm going through a really stressful time of my life, for example, when I went through a divorce, or when I went through a business breakup with my business partner at the start of the year, both of those quite traumatic and stressful times in my life, I lost a lot of hair. So there were like bald patches, and I was like, what is going on? Maybe I'm using the wrong shampoo. I wasn't connecting with the fact that my body is just in this fight or flight mode, and this is what's happening to me. And with that, I then started to get injured when I was running because I was so stressed all the time. I never really stopped to think about my body's actually showing me, hang on, you need to slow down.
Yeah. There's a book I love that's very much in, you know, the space of the work that I do, but it's called The Body Keeps the Score. And it's the perfect example of that. The body literally does keep the score. So as soon as, you know, women, you'll see it in your skin will be breaking out, or you'll have digestive issues quite often because, you know, when you're in fight or flight, you're not thinking about digesting food. Like you're just in running mode. So our body is usually the thing that shows the signs. And then we try to fix it all these other ways. And then we're like, all right, fine, I'll deal with myself.
I'll actually face
I'll
core.
face the thing.
Yeah, yeah. I know that when I was training for a marathon a few years ago, I was gaining a lot of weight. And normally when I train for a marathon, I drop a lot of weight because you're running so much. Your kilometres over the week are huge. And there was this one particular year where I was gaining weight and I was like, what is happening? And now reflecting back, I actually look at that space and that time in my life and go, whoa, I was so stressed. My body was just holding on to anything and everything to just love me.
Yeah. It's like
literally like a layer of just something to be there to love me.
Yeah. We can call it a layer of love,
Yeah,
but it's
I like
usually
that.
inflammation. It's usually your body is like inflamed because it's so stressed.
Yeah. So when did you start your business? What year?
I want to say 2020 is when I first started. It did look quite different then. I was primarily doing personal training and creative work, so design work.
Okay.
When I was doing the personal training, what I had on Instagram in the online space was very much, I think my page, I called it at the time was like hustling for happy. So it was this idea of turning the hustle into really putting that energy and effort into your happiness. So it was a lot around balance with food, balance with fitness, balance with work. So that's how it started. And as I continue to grow and learn in the space that I'm in now, my business has obviously shifted.
Yeah. So that was even during COVID. I mean, that would have got a lot of traction during COVID because people were at home and probably looking at that and going, how can I love myself and support myself during this time?
Yeah.
And so it went from the PT space into the coaching space.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you still do PT? Do you ever train anyone for exercise or anything like that?
No. I don't. I do love it. I think if I was to do it now, it would still be quite a holistic service. You know? I've thought about offering a sort of more of like a full service in terms of taking care of your body with it. So I do a lot of that in terms of the healing work that I do. So that's really about, really looking after your nervous system. But I am currently doing some more studies, so stay tuned.
I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So do you have any words of advice for a woman out there who is struggling with work-life balance? Because I know for me right now in my life, I am at the most peaceful stage of my life I've ever been in, yet I'm also at my busiest. And I don't know how I found myself here. I think it's relying on support with my team. I have 20 staff now. I'm getting really good at delegating. I'm getting really good at giving a healthy, hard no. And I'm also really good at now not feeling guilty of not replying to a text message. Like if somebody calls me and I don't answer, I don't have that guilt anymore. I'm like, oh, well, I'll call them back. What advice do you have for somebody who isn't in that space? If they're really struggling and they feel like they're drowning and they're trying to wear all of the hats all of the time and they're at breaking point, is there anything that they can do? Is there any coaching advice you can give them?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say 3 things, I think. The first one is probably relating to what I said earlier in that a lot of the time everything feels important and everything feels overwhelming and it just feels like it's almost like this visual of like all these strings attached to you and everyone's just like pulling at them. You feel like a bit of a puppet and your own expectations as well. It's just everything feels really noisy. And so what I was saying earlier is our body is always the key. It's the key to healing and it'll show the signs first when we're stressed. It's also the key to getting clear and sort of just being able to work out what balance actually even looks like for you and what is disrupting your peace. So I always get my clients to use this spacer track that I give them and we just use it at the start and then it just becomes a little bit of a practice that you can use ongoing. But it's essentially a minute and all you're doing is just taking a hot minute to drop into your body, like literally just being like, I'm choosing to get out of my head right now into my body, using your breath. So when we think about using the breath, I always like to use something like a in for 4, hold for 7, out for 8. Just simplest terms, longer exhale. And that's telling your body, hey, we're not getting more oxygen in because we're trying to run away. We're chilling. We're breathing out and we're exhaling for longer. It's sort of giving your body that signal of like, oh, we don't need more oxygen to run or fight and, be in that fight or flight mode. So whilst explaining it sounds a bit complex, if you can just think when you feel that noise and like everything's too much, you're really stressed, you're burnt out, you know, you don't feel like you have this balance or this peace that you're speaking about, it's like taking that moment to take the breaths, come back into your body and asking yourself, you know, I always say asking yourself of how do I feel, what do I need, and who do I want to be? Because we often are caught up in this doing mentality of like, oh, I just need to do more to fix this so I have more balance. But actually it's about letting go of a lot, like the no's, letting go of the expectations on yourself that might be incredibly high. It's letting go of, you know, it could be even relationships or a work situation. It's a lot of the time is about like, okay, what can I let go of? It's always like this subtraction model as well. And then I would say, I know I said 3, but I almost think I've gone blank on what the second one was. So I'm going to go with the third I love this analogy of when we're thinking about the juggle and we're thinking about you trying to juggle all the things in life, right? Some of the things that we're juggling are glass balls and some of them are plastic balls. So the glass balls, obviously you can determine what they are, but essentially if you drop them, it's kind of, you know, it's kind of going to have a bit more of an impact, not as easy to pick back up. The plastic balls, you can just like let them drop and they'll bounce back, you'll pick them up later. And so for me, to give a bit of an example of what this looks like, a glass ball is my health. Because if I keep dropping that all the time, smashing myself, pardon the pun.
Yeah.
Smashing my body, it eventually is gonna stop me if I don't stop. And it could be your kids, it could be that deadline that you have that you actually can't get out of. So like you said, the message, the call, that can just wait. The washing can wait, the other things can wait. So really just looking at, you know, being able to manage the juggle in a way that works for you. You don't have to juggle everything all at once. And I've just remembered what the second point was, which was that balance looks different on everyone. So someone could look at the way that you're living now and be like, oh, that's not balance or peace. You know, you were saying you're almost the busiest that you've ever been, but you feel the most at peace. But it's probably because you've come into more of yourself and you have boundaries and you've increased your capacity to deal with challenges and you love what you're doing, you know. So you feel at peace because, yes, you're busy and you're on the go, but it feels right and it feels enjoyable. I think often we get caught up in this idea of not having enough balance because we're doing too much of the things that don't actually light us up or aren't, you know, really serving like our goals and what we want. So everyone's is going to look different. You might be in your healing season and your era of I just want to lay on the beach and like read personal development books and journal and take care of myself, or you've just come out of a really tough relationship and you need to focus on that. You might be in your business era of networking and, you know, building your online presence and all of the things, and you're actually just loving it. So perhaps it might mean that you're working of an evening, but you're still taking care of yourself around that. So it really is working out what works for you as well.
3 very, very beautiful, strategic, like that's like a plan. I was just sitting here going, yep, I'm going to do that and then I'm going to do this. And then I was like, I tried to identify what my glass balls were and then what my plastic balls in life were. And also too, how to determine the difference between them too, because I think sometimes for me, I might identify something as a glass ball when it's actually really a plastic ball. And trying to look at that. That was great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I thought that maybe my listeners would really appreciate and take value of a visualization activity, because I know that you did do one of these at our events, and the women in the room, it was like taking it back to that DJ experience with the music, electrifying. That's what it was like in the room. So I thought that maybe we could do one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love this.
I'm so excited. So I am mindful that there could be listeners that are in the car doing the things. So if you can't close your eyes with this, definitely pause, come back later, or go on the journey in your mind a little bit, but bookmark it, because it is powerful when you can really just like get into the moment. But if you can close your eyes, we'll close our eyes. And if you're unable to close your eyes, just taking this moment to come back into the present space that you're in and come back into your body. So just taking a moment to perhaps maybe feel the surface beneath you, maybe pick up on any scents, the feel of your clothes, and then just turning that attention inwards and just noticing your body. Maybe even starting to pay attention to any areas that feel tense, or maybe any areas that you might be holding perhaps some emotions that have been coming up lately. And wherever that is, I want you to just guide your attention to really just giving that area some love. Breathing love into that space and starting to consciously bring that breath into this experience. Drawing up from the belly, breathing into the space where you're holding that tension, that emotion, and then just letting everything go. And as you do this, just starting to notice this sense of feeling a little bit lighter. And as your attention is turned inwards, through your mind's eye, I want you to just imagine that this beautiful beaming light starts to shine down upon your forehead. And it starts to spill down your face. And as it does, you just feel this sense of safety, this sense of just knowing that everything is taken care of and that you can let go. And you can just feel your body relaxing, your cheeks, your neck, feeling your shoulders drop a little bit. Imagining this light wrapping around your torso, around your hips, all the way down your legs, until you're wrapped in this beautiful blanket of this white light. And just imagining that this light starts to take you away from the space that you're in, up into the sky, through the clouds, all the way out into the universe, among the stars, the planets, and just letting yourself float here, wrapped in this beautiful light. And just taking a moment to just let go of everything below, knowing that you're free, knowing that this space is so expansive. There's this whole universe out here. And as you're floating there, just imagining as you start to just look into the distance towards the stars, that there's this one star that looks really bright. And you feel really drawn to move towards this beautiful star. And so this light that's surrounding you guides you closer and closer. And as you get closer to this star, you notice that it actually starts to take the shape of this arch. And as you get closer and closer, you realize that you can move through this arch. You just have this knowing that it's leading you somewhere. And so you travel through this beautiful, beautiful archway. And on the other side is just these floating clouds for a moment. And you make your way through these clouds, feeling this sense of lightness. And you notice something else just ahead of you. And you look a little closer and you realize it's a person. And you get closer and closer. You start to see that they look really familiar, but there's perhaps something a little different about them. You realize that it's you. It's this version of you that has let go of everything below, who is embodying her values, who is feeling whole within herself, who is shining so bright that you were drawn to this star, this space that she moves from, this energy. And she asks you, what is it that you need to let go of in order to meet me here? And just allowing yourself to hand that over. And as you do, as you tell her what it is that you need to let go, she reassures you that she's got your back, that you're safe, that you are her. And she holds out her hands and pulls you in for this really beautiful hug. And as you take a breath together, she asks you to just set an intention with her as to how it is that you want to feel, how it is that you need to be in order to become her and meet her here. And as you set that intention with her, you notice that this hug just turns into this complete shift, and that you actually are her, and you realize that this has been you all along. And you can feel the energy of being this person. You can see inside your mind how you think about yourself, how you respond to challenges in life, how your body feels, and how you feel in being her. And just noticing if that feeling were to have a colour, what colour might that be? Where is that feeling in your body? That feeling of being this most whole, vibrant, free version of yourself. And I want you to turn that feeling up by 1, by 2, by 3, by 4, all the way until it's a 10. And that colour, imagine that bursting from wherever you can feel it in your body and surrounding you and spreading out into the universe and sprinkling down on everything on earth, all of your experiences, all of the people that you love, the things that you love doing. This energy is now meeting all of those things and wrapping it in this beautiful colour that's yours. And as you take a nice, beautiful, deep breath in, locking that in place, just turning your attention back to the clouds around you, just feeling this sense of readiness to return back to this beautiful earth, this life that you have, and grounding yourself in this intention and this person that you always have been and that you are. And as you set that intention to return back to this beautiful place that you call home, just feeling yourself taken by this beautiful light, starting to drift all the way down from the stars, back through the layers of the atmosphere, the clouds, all the way back to the here and now. And taking a beautiful deep breath in to the belly and a nice sigh out. Whenever you're ready, just coming back into the here and now.
Crying. That was really lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just saw so much yellow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I feel like yellow is a really beautiful one that I always hear a lot.
It's like that sunshine or warmth and happiness and
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that with us.
Oh, you're welcome. I often get a yellow or the sunrise colours.
Yeah.
That real vibrant.
I'm very
colour.
connected to sunrises and sunsets. There's something with the sky for me. I think that's why I run super early or super late, purely just to get the sunset or the sunrise. And I find that those colours, I always stop and go, look at the sky, and it brings me this sense of happiness. And that's what I felt doing that up there in the clouds.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you
You're
for all of
welcome.
that, sharing your knowledge and wisdom and passion and love with my listeners. And if if our listeners wanted to get in touch with you, how do they follow you? How do they find you on Instagram? How do they connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Best place to find me is literally just on my personal brand Instagram page. So it's at Samantha, and then my last name is so annoying, but I've owned
I
it.
always spell it wrong.
I've
always
owned
spell
it.
it
I
wrong.
was like, I'm not even going to use it because it's so annoying, and I've
How
decided.
do you pronounce it?
Harstedt. So
Harstedt.
I always say it's like bastard, but with a H.
Oh, okay.
So if you start typing HARSTEDT, hopefully it'll be show
It'll
notes
come up.
somewhere. If you can see my face on this.
Yes.
There's me.
This is me.
That has all my
Amazing.
info, all my things. So.
Yeah, amazing. No, I love following you, and I love all the reels that you make because it's just authentic, and it's like, hey, yeah, I feel that, and I really connect with it, and I know so many other women do. So thank you, and thank you for being on the podcast today. And thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will see you soon with our next step. Bye.